Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to 4Strategy Gaming, casting a game for you today between the little one and WhiteRA, and this is the epically long 40-minute game. It's actually 38 minutes and 13 seconds in replay time. I think in real time that puts it closer to between 30 and 35 minutes, because in-game time's a little bit faster than real time. So let's just go ahead and get right into this game. What is going to be happening today? I don't know. This should be exciting though. 40 minutes of action between WhiteRA and the little one. Now, of course, WhiteRA being the blue Protoss player, and the little one is the red Terran player in this matchup. Little one playing as random, most typically. That is what we've been seeing him do as of late, in fact. So what do we have here? Xel'Naga Caverns. Nice little expansion right outside of both players' base. We have Xel'Naga Towers right there, smack in the middle. Great idea to grab hold of these. This is going to allow you to see any pushes coming from the ground. Now, the one thing to really be concerned about is the far corners. You do have to worry about drops from either corner. So trying to get vision over there lets you better prepare for those, but it's not always easy to get vision of those side areas. Now, as far as expansions beyond the natural, we do have an expansion right over here, destructible rocks in the way, and we have a high yield expansion right over here with destructible rocks blocking your actual placement of the building. So destructible rocks required to circumvent in one form or another for both of these expansions. Then lastly, there's a far-reaching expansion on the very far corner of the map. But that's about enough about expansions. Let's talk about the game itself. The little one coming down with his first barracks refinery, just about finishing up right now. Also, SCV scouting in a little area behind the brush over there. That's going to allow him to check for any possible proxies. That's what he was looking to do. Now, over here for WhiteRA, we have a pretty standard opener as well. Assimilator just came in. Gateway is just about done. Should be seeing a Cybernex core as soon as that finishes. And watch this, right smack when that thing finishes. We're going to get a probe. We're going to grab a Cybernex core right away. First, as soon as it gets to 150 minerals, I think that's something that's important for people to realize. You need to really get these things one after the other. If you wait too long for your Cybernex core, it's going to be too long until you get your Warp Gate research, too long until you get your Robo, too long until you get your Stalkers. You need to be getting those things as soon as things like the Gateway come up. Same thing with over here as a Terran player. If you're going for Barracks Factory, you should be getting your factory right after that barracks comes up, or at least as soon as you have that next 100 Vespi. And that is, of course, if that's your tech choice. If you're not going for barracks factory, then you don't have to get that factory right away. But the point is, whatever you plan on teching up to, it should be dropped as soon as possible when it's capable of getting it. I guess the best example too, Cybernex core's up right away. We want to see that Warp Gate research. Look at that, that happened right away. But let's stop talking strategy, because we're here for some action. There's the Zealot chilling out at the front of the base there, and this SCV is not going to get away. He is already at 8 health, and that Zealot's going to prevent him from leaving, so SCV is probably just going to be dancing around a little bit, trying to do a little fancy footwork, but not going to be able to leave the base. There is no way in heck that that is happening, and he dies to the probe. That is very unfortunate. Now, probe over here for WhiteRA trying to break into a little one's base, but that is going to be near impossible with this Marine here. Also that Marauder in the back, just for some extra security. The Marine alone with proper micro will deny that probe from coming in though. We'll deny him from getting very far in without dying at least. We have a Stalker up right now for WhiteRA, along with that Zealot, and then next comes the Zealot again. So 2 Zealots and a Stalker going to be opening with Chrono boosting up that Warp Gate research, so definitely trying to get access to that very shortly. And there we go with the Robo. So looking at maybe a 2 or 3 gate Robo from WhiteRA. That is what we're likely to see over here. Having access to the Xel'Naga Tower, going to let him see any early pushes come, and it's a good thing because it looks like we're going to be seeing an early push here from WhiteRA. Seeing this one barracks and fast expansion, you typically are going to be seeing some early aggression. So here it comes, moving on out right now. And yeah, hopefully WhiteRA is prepared for that. Does he have a sentry coming out? Yes, he does, and that is exactly what he needs. As a Protoss player, defending yourself against early aggression. There we go, aggression. Whew. This is 40 minutes a game, guys. Give me a break here. It hasn't started yet, but I'm in anticipation. I'm busting up already. So, in order to defend against early aggression from Terran players, you pretty much need sentries. It's going to be your lifesaver, basically. So, going to be trying to push up right now. The little one is, and I'm going to be probably seeing a force field. There we go. Force field does drop down, so good job by WhiteRA. It does want to get those Zealots out of range, though, of these guys shooting in his face there. And now pretty much it works out that his Warp Gate research is up, so now the push is not going to be nearly as effective. He can warp in some units, but here we go. Marauder's going to be moving up with the Marine. Stim going down. Additional Marauder moving in. Going to be target firing that Stalker, taking him down quickly with that extra shot from the Marauder down low. Also going to be doing some extra damage to that Zealot, dancing around the sentry, trying to move away from the Zealot as well, and that extra Marauder is definitely going to help. But 3 probes coming up to help with the battle for the Zealot, and it's going to add a little bit of extra damage. Also going to want to keep those Marauders moving as well. Does go down to just 2 Marauders. Should be getting down that Stalker, though. Stalker does drop. dropping down the probe, and they can kite the Zealot all day, but deciding to leave because he knows another warp in is going to be coming soon, or possibly that Immortal. So deciding to leave after that. Pretty nice attack from the little one. Did manage to do a little bit of damage. Didn't really break into his base too much, but he managed to kill 3 probes and killed pretty much everything he had, WhiteRA had as far as units is concerned, and also managed to escape with these 2 Marauders' lives. So good job there. These Marauders get to live for another battle, and we are having a barracks heavy build right here. We have the 3 racks coming up, factory dropping down. That expansion is just now finished right now for the little one. Now, something I talk to generally is, as far as expansion time is concerned, you know, expanding when you push out is a good idea. So we saw that early aggression, and then the little one decided to drop that expansion as well. So now the expansion is finished. He's going to be using it to help saturate this line. And then once he lifts off this orbital command, probably going to be pulling maybe about half of the SCVs off of here and then moving it right to the expansion to distribute it nice and evenly between those 2 patches. But what do we have over here from WhiteRA? Looks like we might be seeing some early aggression. He does have a bunch of forward units over here dancing around there, probably looking for some stragglers from the little one, trying to pick off the units. In fact, there's a Marine right there, so we'll take care of that, no problem. We do have an expansion going down from WhiteRA as well. Sometimes I have a problem saying his name. Sometimes I have a problem speaking in general, though. So I guess that could be more of my issue than it is actually WhiteRA's name. Now the little one was dropping that expansion earlier, and WhiteRA had a probe inside of his not a probe, but a observer inside of his base. So that's why he's going to be going ahead and deciding to go with that expansion himself right now, because it's going to be pretty much necessary. Another observer coming out, also pylon on over here. So might be seeing this aggressive push right now from WhiteRA. Now the good thing for him is that these Immortals do incredibly well against these Marauders. There are quite a bit of Marauders though, and an issue with a heavy Marauder build is that these Zealots aren't going to be able to do much. Up until the point they get charged, it's going to be pretty much impossible for them to catch these Marauders, and don't want to lose that Immortal. He's very low already, and there we go, target fire down, so losing 1 Immortal, and that's actually hurt him quite a bit. Zealots trying to move forward and do as much damage. They pretty much require the Immortal and the Sentries to do a majority of the damage because, again, they can be kited until the Marauders slow up enough for the Zealots to catch them. But there we go, trying to run away. A few shots from the Zealots. That Immortal doing most of the work, though, on those Marauders that were down there. Unfortunately, now with the lack of Immortals, these Zealots aren't going to do much of anything because there's no real big threat to these Marauders. The Marauders are going to be able to kite them around all day. Now, you might be wondering why WhiteRA is continuing to push with the Zealots. Well, he really has no other choice. He can't really escape with the Marauders on his tail, so I guess the idea is going to be try to move in, try to do as much damage as possible, because there's no way they're even going to get away. With those concussive shells, the Marauders would chase them, and they wouldn't really even be able to leave without dying, so they might as well try to move in, do some damage. Sentry getting surrounded by those SCVs, so goodbye Sentry. Hellion's up right now. Look at that hero Hellion. 2 kills. Beautiful work there. That's probably actually the Sentries, I would have to imagine. Now, another Observer going to be moving in right now for WhiteRA, so going to be seeing exactly what's going on. Again, 3 barracks. We got this one starport out here. Going to be coming out with that medevac, and Hellion's coming out of that factory right now. Now the transfer is going down of this orbital command and of these SCVs. Those SCVs taking the long route though back home, dropping off those minerals. Now over here for WhiteRA, expansion is up, starting to get that saturated. What do we have for tech over here? We have a robotics base, so awesome. Nice. Going to be seeing some Colossus. First one on its way out right now, and that's exactly what WhiteRA wants against this Marauder, Marine kind of bio army here. Colossus is definitely the answer to that. Still sticking with the 3 gate and the 1 robo. Now very shortly, we are likely to be seeing him drop additional buildings. Why? Because he's on another base here. He's got an expansion. When he has an expansion, he can afford some more buildings. Now, realize going for Colossus, getting that thermal lance upgrade right away, he cannot immediately support more buildings because it is very expensive to go for Colossus and then get that thermal lance upgrade. But very shortly, once his base starts to get a little more saturated, he's going to be able to afford some more production buildings. Now Hellion's moving in, trying to roast some of these workers for WhiteRA, and actually getting a few with no problem. 2 force fields going down, going to force those Hellions to run away. Going to be taking this back narrow path here, trying to stay away from this giant force here of WhiteRA. Now Marauders moving forward, stim packing going down, taking a lot of shots at the Colossus, but not before dying. We do have a drop going down over here as well. Bunch of Marines, Marauders, and target firing still going down on the Colossus, and the Colossus does drop. That is a huge loss for WhiteRA. Definitely did not want that to happen. Also stim packing and taking out that robotics facility while the Colossus was building, so another big loss for WhiteRA. And now the little one is going to be lifting off his units and taking off with what he can. Only lost a few there and did manage to do quite a bit of damage. I can't imagine WhiteRA is happy about that. Also have some Marauders down here doing some damage to the mineral line again after that Hellion attack that initially took place. So a lot of tactics here were being seen in play from the little one, attacking in one area, dropping in another, and then also following up that drop that was distracted from the attack with another attack at the mineral line. So great job. Trying to divert your opponent's attention is a good way. It's a good tactic. It's a good way to basically take your opponent off guard. So great work by the little one. Like to see that kind of play. It's also a good way to mess up your caster when he's a little bit sleepy and casting a 40-minute long game, but you know, whatever. So here we go, Zealot Heavy Army for WhiteRA. Gonna be seeing him take care of these destructible rocks. Looks like he intends on expanding, and it's a good thing too because the little one plans on expanding very soon as well. Now here we go, some additional production buildings coming out for the little one, and look what's going on over here for WhiteRA. Just as I said, now that he's on 2 bases and they're starting to get about saturated, then he's going to be able to afford additional production buildings. And there we go, 2 gateways coming down as well. Some Marauders running around trying to find some proxy pylons, also checking for that possibility of an expansion right down there. Again, that is not up quite as of yet, but very shortly, because WhiteRA did take care of these destructible rocks. Now we have another drop coming down over here for WhiteRA, and then also a Marauder task force. So here we go, another 2-pronged attack. Going to be hitting in the front, trying to distract WhiteRA, and then dropping in the back. So there's Stim Pack going down. Going to be running around, probably taking out that pylon without an issue. Force Field going down. Going to be killing one of those Marauders, maybe 2. Nope, just the one Marauder. And might be losing these Zealots, and that is because he's got a drop in the back of his base, so trying to pay attention to that. Marauder's going to be moving in, trying to do a bunch of damage. Marauders over here did end up getting taked out. Now over here, taking care of that pylon. There we go. Pylon has been dropped, and he might want to get out of here sometime shortly. We do have reinforcements coming over here for WhiteRA, so pick up those Marauders and get out, go home, lift it off. Going to be moving down, and watch out, Stalker's over here. Stalker over here. Does he have enough wiggle room? Looks like he does, so the little one able to find the perfect spots and not get hit by those Stalkers. Great job. It's because they don't have vision. Or they do, they just can't shoot. They just don't have the range. That's a little too bad. So the little one managed to get away with his medevac with 20 HP, 3 Marauders. So this is an impending doom drop right here. He can drop at any moment, and WhiteRA just kind of has to deal with it. He knows this medevac's here, but at the moment he cannot do anything to touch it. He has nothing that he can do to touch it. Another medevac being dropped with Marauders over here. So we're seeing a lot of Stim Pack Marauder drops, with the purpose being primarily to kill some workers, but also drop those pylons. That's what we've been seeing a lot of. So really cool little tactic. Like to see that there. That speedy little Marine running around with the Stim Pack. So here we go. Drop going down. Going to be killing that Stalker. Trying to take out a tech building as well. Another drop going down over here. Going to be killing some pylons. So here we go. Constant harassment from multiple angles. Hitting from one spot and then hitting in another spot, and that's what she said. Gonna be taking a couple shots off, lifting up in the medevac, and time to get away. So nice work. Nice work. Working it from multiple angles, the little one. I am impressed. Good work, my friend. Now here we go. Expansion going down over here for WhiteRA. WhiteRA in the midst of all this harassment, still trying to maintain his macro, and he decides it is time to push. I'm fed up with this constant Marauder drop. I'm not going to let this little puny Terran player ruin my day. We have an expansion over here, but Planetary Fortress is down. Now the Colossus can take care of that with their range, but all the rest of his ground units are probably going to want to stay away, because SCV repairing Planetary Fortress can be a pain in the butt. Another expansion going down over here for the little one. The little one feeling very, very risky. Drop going down over here. Marauders can be taking care of these pylons, but over here on the high ground, we do have some Colossus, and they are going to be roasting the SCVs. They say, screw attacking the Planetary Fortress. I'm going to roast your SCVs. Marauders trying to do some damage, being lifted off right there. Going to be dropped at the expansion. Hero Marine over here taking out some probes as well. There's a whole lot of going on. Colossus going to be trying to do some damage here, but those repairing SCVs going to make it a little too hard. Vikings moving in as well. Going to be trying to pick off those Colossus. Here's that drop over here. Warping in. Some Zealots right now should be able to take care of those Marauders unless they get lifted up. Is the little one paying enough attention? I don't think so. Ends up losing those Marauders over here. Hero Marine did end up dying to the Zealot. You can see that one kill. Our poor Marine. Expansion down over here, but look at this attack still going down. We need some repairs on this Planetary Fortress, but Charge Zealots making that impossible. Planetary Fortress does drop to this Zealot heavy army. We have a couple High Templar over here, as well as this Immortal Stalker and a couple sentries. Those Zealots really making quick work of things over here. Siege Tank's going to make it really hard for this push to continue, though. But we have a counterattack going down over here. Marauder heavy, going to be pushing in, doing quite a bit of damage. They could probably drop this next.